Welcome back for a new top 10 list, a new top 10 favorites list of a game console. This time is my top 10 personal favorite Xbox One games. First up, we have a few honorable mentions, so let's get to it. The first honorable mention is one I only just recently started playing. Now, it actually will be much higher on PS4 because of playing through the game completely, but I recently picked up relatively cheap Kingdom Hearts 3, and of course, I'm going to at least give it an honorable mention. Next honorable mention, if you like classic 2D platformers, I recommend checking it out. Super Lucky's Tale, originally released exclusively to Xbox, though it would end up getting also released on the Nintendo Switch, which did make sense to me. But it's a great 3D platformer. If you like the N64 era 3D platformer games, I think you'll enjoy Super Lucky's Tale. And I like the animation style as well. Also, a remastered game, but a game I highly recommend if you like story-driven narrative type games. I highly recommend The Raven Remastered. Great game, solid overall. It has really good storytelling, and definitely, and given you can get this relatively very cheap, it's definitely, I consider, a must-play if you like more games strictly for the story aspect rather than a huge, massive world. If you like linear type games, you'll enjoy it. Next honorable mention is a game most people have probably forgotten about. This was big when it first released. Project Spark. Interesting game, and at one time it looked like there was going to be a conquer given. They did make where you could actually place some interesting mods. Basically, the main thing in this game was you could create like your own little world. As time progressed, play in third-person action. Sometimes in the game, it kind of felt like playing a little bit like Fable, mixed with some other like platformer type games mixed together gameplay-wise. But it's definitely a game, and I'm amazed at how few people remember this game. Personally, I really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, the servers are down, so you can only play what you actually create in the game yourself on that console. Unfortunately, since servers are down now, Microsoft about 2 years or so ago shut down the servers for Project Spark, which sucks. Underrated game. Also, another game I feel is underrated. Honorable mention goes to We Happy Few. Very interesting game in first person aspect. It definitely has certain elements that kind of remind me a bit of Bioshock because it definitely has the steampunk feel going for it. And it's a very unique game that mainly revolves around three characters' stories. Sometime in the future, I might finally get around to reviewing this. Last of the honorable mentions, a great console exclusive. I think it's great. It's an action. It's a third-person action slash platformer game. Very unique to its kind. There aren't too many platformer type games like this out there. So it definitely gives ReCore a unique feel. And in fact, you can buy this pre-owned at GameStop for like $6 or $7. Pretty dang cheap, I might add. So yeah, give this game a shot. I mean, you can get it for under $10. Why not give it a chance? And it definitely deserves it. I wish this game would get a little more love than it does get. Coming in at number 10 is the only sports game on the list, but it's definitely the only racing series I genuinely actually like. Coming at number 10 is Forza Horizon 4. Now, I'll be honest, I am rather partial to Forza Horizon 2, which was more or less a launch title for the console, but there's just a lot of content in this, and I admit I do like the Lego expansion that they did for Forza Horizon 4. With that said, comes in at number 10. Next, coming at number 9 It's a great game. If you like games like Commands and Conquer, you'll definitely enjoy this. Coming at number 9 is Halo Wars 2. More specifically, Ultimate Edition, since it also includes the Season Pass DLC, and it also includes a digital copy of Halo Wars 1, originally on the 360, which was one of my favorite games easily on the 360. But for me, number 9 goes to Halo Wars 2. It wouldn't be really an Xbox list without at least one Halo game mentioned. And believe me when I say, this is the only Halo game that's getting mentioned. Coming in at number 8 is a great double pack of two incredible platformer games, Inside and Limbo. And of course, by now, if you've watched any of my videos, you know I love Limbo with a passion. I definitely really enjoy the Limbo game for the darkness and stuff to it, but I really like Inside Out as well. I mean, it's probably like my 10th favorite indie game. Limbo, though, is in my top 5. So yeah, and it's more for the puzzles and everything. Coming at number 7, some people are probably gonna definitely disagree with me for number 7, but that's fine. I'm used to having unpopular opinions. Number 7 for me personally is Mirror's Edge The Catalyst, or just Mirror's Edge Catalyst. I personally really like this game. I mean, I've done a full playthrough of this game. Maybe sometime I'll get around and actually do a review of this and the original Mirror's Edge. But with that said, Mirror's Edge The Catalyst deserves a lot more love than it gets. Graphically speaking, this game looks phenomenal even now, several years after its release. Because this game was relatively early. It was released around like 2014, 2015, around that range. So it's several years old now. But graphically, it still is better than many games out right now. I mean, honestly, it could easily be tricked for it. Just graphically, it's ridiculously beautiful. And I like the very super clean aspect of this post-apocalyptic type world. It's very different. And it shows basically society where giant mega corporations control basically every aspect of life and everything. So, maybe not too different from currently, but whatever. Coming in at number 6 is easily the newest on the list. It's only at number 6, though I get the feeling as time goes on, this will gradually go up on my list. But for me right now, number 6 is Ori, Will of the Wisps. Now, I like it the fact that it introduced combat mechanics to the game, and I do like the boss battles. That is one of the most memorable things about this game. Graphically, it's gorgeous, it's like the first game. I'll admit there is still part of me that prefers the first game over Will of the Wisps. There's just part of me that has I feel like a connection to Blind Forest. But still, comes in at number 6. Next, coming at number 5, is a game I love. This was the first platform I played it on, so which is why it makes it its high. Coming at number 5 for me is Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, which is an amazing game from, of course, I don't want to butcher his name, Koji Igarashi, but Koji, at least I can say his first name, hopefully, properly. But he, of course, made, in my opinion, one of the greatest games of all time, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. You can really tell that from the way this game plays, it feels like a direct sequel. I mean, the aspects, the designs, though, and mechanically, very similar to that, and definitely other things. And I will say, I love this game, and I don't see that ever changing. It is definitely the best modern Castlevania game, even though it's technically the spiritual successor. But it was done by the one who, in my opinion, created the greatest Castlevania game of all time. So, thank you, Koji, for the amazing game that is Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night. Coming in at number 4, As I already mentioned, I liked a little bit more. Coming in at number 4 is Ori and the Blind Forest. A game that holds, in my opinion, a very special place and always will. The music is phenomenal in both games, but I'll admit there's part of me that kind of likes just a bit more of the music from this game. And I definitely love the stage designs and everything, just the way the game plays out. It is a masterpiece, in my opinion, from artistically standing. And mechanically, it's a solid, really well executed game. Next coming in is just because this is the one I ended up with. Now, I could care less about Gears of War. For me, third place goes to Rare Replay. As somebody who grew up in the Super Nintendo, N64, and that era of gaming, Rareware at the time was something very special and holds a special place. I mean, it's responsible for creating Perfect Dark Zero, and by the way, I am one of the defenders, one of the only defenders I know of, that will defend Perfect Dark Zero. I think that game is overly hated. It deserves a lot more respect and love than it does get. Also, you have all three Banjo games. Also, I kind of liked Banjo Nuts and Bolts, to be honest. I don't have a deep hate for the game. Until this, I never played Banjo-Tooie. I only played the original Banjo-Kazooie. Also, even though it's technically meant for a younger age group, I'll admit there's part of me at times, if I just want to relax and stuff, I actually find Viva Pinata to be a good game just to relax to. It's definitely more for kids to play, but it is a good game to unwind if you just want like about 30 minutes or an hour just to unwind and relax from stress. Great game to do it. Plus, you have, of course, Killer Instinct, also in the collection, the original. Amazing games. Rareware always did make great software. It's a shame nowadays they don't really do much outside of Sea of Thieves, which is unfortunate. Coming in at number 2, in my opinion, the most underrated game on the console, pretty much of exclusives. Coming in number 2, from, of course, none other than Insomniac Games. It was one of the launch titles. This was the very first game I ever played on the Xbox One, which is what still holds a special place. It's a great third-person game, and I feel in many ways, art style, the music choices and stuff, in my opinion, it's sort of like a spiritual successor, in certain aspects, definitely art-wise, of Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future. Definitely feels like it, though it's a third-person action game with shooting and stuff, but I do love the exploding teddy bears and other stuff in the game. It's definitely an interesting post-apocalyptic type world, very different from anything else in the genre. And I appreciate that, some originality, and I'll admit I really like the 90s pop or punk music they chose, which goes good with the background. Coming in number 1, Killer Instinct Definitive Edition, or just KI, which of course music in the background, so no surprise there. For me, KI will always hold a special place for me. And I love this game. I will continue at least as long as I can to do videos on KI. So with that said, I'll see y'all next time. Same YouTube time, same YouTube channel. Stay safe. And yeah, one thing I will say about KI is the soundtrack. The soundtrack is amazing, and it has arguably one of my personal favorite boss themes. Gargos boss theme is just awesome. Just heavy metal music. Sounds perfectly for like a black metal band or something. It's good. I really like it. And Gargos is a great villain, and I especially loved his redesign in the game. Also, I'll admit, of other characters I like from the newer game, as I've mentioned before, I really like Arya. Really cool design. I also really like Shadow Django. Quite a bit, actually. And the same thing can be said for other original characters, like, I also really like characters like Mira, and many others. So with that said, everyone stay safe. I'll see you all same time in the near future. Same YouTube time, same YouTube channel.